Have you ever wondered why a small piece of gold is so valuable? What is so special about this metal that people spend their entire lives chasing it? Some time ago, a shiny gold card linked to Donald Trump became a major topic of discussion, with its price said to be around $5 million. Some people even started claiming that owning it could get you US citizenship. Whether that's true or not is a different matter, but one thing is absolutely clear. Gold is not just a metal. It has become a symbol of power, wealth, and trust. Today, gold is used in everything from luxury cars to expensive jewelry and even food. Every year, more than 4,000 tons of gold are mined around the world. But have you ever wondered what this shiny gold looks like inside the earth? What challenges do people face to bring it out? And how does a tiny particle hidden between dirt and rocks turn into a gold bar worth millions? In today's video, we'll take you on the complete journey, from the dangerous mines of Africa to the most advanced gold mines in America. Believe me, every step of this journey will surprise you, and by the end, the way you look at gold will change forever. Before we move ahead, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss more amazing and informative videos like this. Today, if there is one metal that is considered the greatest symbol of trust and wealth around the world, it is gold. But did you know that the relationship between humans and gold is not new? It goes back nearly 6,000 years. Since the Neolithic age, people have used gold to make jewelry, decorate religious objects, and create special items for kings and rulers. In those times, the more gold a person owned, the more powerful and wealthy they were considered. But what makes gold so special? The real reason is that gold never rusts. It doesn't turn black over time, and its shine doesn't fade easily. That's why, even after thousands of years, gold has kept its value and identity. Gradually, it became more than just a metal. It became a symbol of trust, power, and wealth. Now the question is, if gold is so valuable, can we simply find it lying on the ground? Absolutely not. Most gold is hidden deep inside the earth, trapped in quartz and other ancient rock layers. Over millions of years, wind, rain, and rivers slowly break these rocks apart, carrying tiny gold particles into rivers. But to find real gold, miners have to reach gold-bearing ore, which means digging deep into the earth. In 1848, after a few small pieces of gold were discovered in a river in California, the gold rush began across America. Thousands of people left their homes and rushed west, hoping to become rich overnight. But over time, most of the easy-to-find gold was gone. The search for gold was never the same again. But today's gold rush isn't fought with shovels. It's fought with machines worth millions of dollars. Now let's head to Uganda in Africa, a place many people call the land of gold. But here, gold doesn't shine inside a showroom. It lies hidden beneath red dust, burning heat, and people's hardships. As soon as the sun rises, entire families leave for work. The saddest part is that even small children go into the mines with their parents. The hands that should be holding books are instead holding shovels and pickaxes. Even after working hard all day, many families earn barely $1. For them, gold is not a dream of becoming rich. It is simply a way to put food on the table for the next day. The work begins with a small metal detector. Miners slowly walk across the ground, carefully listening to every little beep from the machine. If they get a signal, they hope there might be gold beneath the surface. But they don't rely only on luck. They know that gold is more likely to be found near rocks like quartz and slate. As soon as they find the right spot, the real hard work begins. Using shovels and pickaxes, they dig several meters deep into the ground. There are no big machines here. Everything is done with human strength. Ropes are used to climb down, and thick wooden logs support the tunnels to stop them from collapsing. Even then, the danger of a tunnel collapse is always there. Underground, it is so dark that the small light on the miners' helmets becomes their only support. Crawling through narrow tunnels, they dig the soil, fill heavy sacks, and pull them up with ropes. Every sack carries a new hope. But the real test hasn't even begun yet. Because finding soil doesn't mean finding gold. The heavy sacks filled with soil and rocks are brought out of the mine. But reaching this stage doesn't mean the gold has been found. The real work starts now. First, the sacks are emptied onto a long conveyor belt, which slowly carries them to a large funnel. From there, all the soil and rocks go into a powerful crusher that breaks the large rocks into small pieces. After that, water is continuously added to the crushed material. As soon as the water is mixed, it turns into a thick slurry. As the slurry moves forward, the lighter soil and waste particles flow away with the water, while any gold particles sink to the bottom because they are much heavier. This is the first step in separating the gold, but the gold is still not completely recovered. Now comes the most dangerous stage. Mercury is added to the mixture. Mercury quickly sticks to gold, and together they form a new mixture called amalgam. Workers need this mixture for about 20 to 30 minutes. After that, it is heated at a high temperature. As soon as it is heated, the mercury turns into vapor and escapes into the air, leaving behind raw gold. But this process, which looks simple, comes at a very heavy cost. Mercury is extremely poisonous. Its toxic vapor can increase the risk of serious diseases like cancer and can badly damage the brain and nervous system. The saddest part is that many children working in these mines breathe this poisonous air every single day. The numbers are even more shocking. To recover just 9.25 ounces of gold, nearly 19,000 tons of soil have to be dug up and processed. That gold may be worth around $10,400, but most of the workers who extract it earn only $1 to $2 after an entire day of hard work. This is where Africa's difficult story comes to an end. But not every gold mine in the world looks like this. The story of every gold mine in the world is not this difficult. Now let's head to a modern gold mine in the US state of Nevada, where the process of mining gold is completely different from the mines in Africa. Here, giant machines do most of the work instead of people. The entire system is designed to recover as much gold as possible in the shortest time. The work begins with a massive drill rig. Using a hydraulic system, this heavy machine drills holes about 30 to 65 feet deep into the ground. Every hole is made at the exact location and depth, so the upcoming blast is completely successful. Next, these holes are filled with explosives. A detonator is placed inside each hole, and a single site can have 50 to 100 detonators. When the control room sends the signal, all the detonators explode together at the exact moment. Within seconds, the entire rock breaks into thousands of small pieces with powerful blasts. This makes it much easier to recover the gold-bearing ore later. Now the giant excavators enter the scene. These machines pick up the broken gold-bearing ore and load it directly onto long conveyor belts. The conveyor belts keep moving without stopping and carry the ore to a temporary storage area. After that, huge haul trucks take over. These trucks carry dozens of tons of ore at a time to the refining plant. There, almost the entire system is automated. Conveyor belts move the ore from one machine to another without any manual work. The surprising part is that 1 ton of rock contains only about 0.05% gold, but modern technology is so accurate that it can still find and separate this tiny amount. Next, the ore is fed into a giant ball mill. Inside this machine are thousands of heavy steel balls. As the mill rotates, these balls keep crushing the rocks again and again. After about 20 to 30 minutes, the entire ore turns into a fine powder, making it much easier to extract the gold. But even after it becomes powder, it still isn't gold. Now the real chemistry begins. Once the ore has been completely crushed into a fine powder, water is added to make a thick mixture called slurry. This is the stage where the real process of separating gold from the waste material begins. First, the slurry goes through physical separation, where the heavier particles settle at the bottom while the lighter particles are separated. But even this doesn't recover all the gold. Now special chemicals like cyanide are added to the slurry. These chemicals help dissolve the gold hidden inside the rocks into a liquid solution. After that, the gold-rich solution is sent into an electrolytic cell. Here, a continuous direct current, or DC current, is passed through it. As soon as the current flows, the tiny gold ions slowly move toward the negative electrode and begin collecting on its surface. This entire process is carefully controlled to recover the purest gold possible. Next comes smelting. The separated gold is heated in a furnace at around 1012 degrees Celsius. At this high temperature, the gold melts into a liquid, while the remaining impurities are removed. The molten gold is then poured into special molds. After some time, as it slowly cools down, it takes the shape of a shiny and solid gold bar. Each bar is then weighed. A typical gold bar weighs between 1 and 2 kilograms and has a purity of about 99.99%. After that, the gold bars are cleaned with a mild acid to remove any remaining impurities from the surface. Once all the inspections are complete, the gold bars are sent to high-security vaults such as major U.S. banks and the Federal Reserve. There, they are safely stored as part of the country's gold reserves. But most people never get to see this gold in the form of a gold bar. Not every gold bar that reaches a high-security vault stays there forever. Many of these gold bars are later sent to jewelry factories, where a new journey begins. First, the gold is heated again to a very high temperature, so it becomes soft and flexible once more. After that, it passes through a rolling machine. This machine presses the gold into either thin sheets or fine wires. These fine gold wires are then used to make different kinds of jewelry. Next, these fine wires are fed into a special chain-making machine. Here, the machine creates tiny links one by one and connects them together. In some designs, the entire process is done by machines, while in expensive jewelry, skilled craftsmen connect every single link by hand. This careful work transforms a simple wire into a beautiful gold chain. After that, the jewelry is polished. Using special machines and polishing compounds, its surface is made so shiny that it reflects like a mirror. If the design requires it, diamonds, other precious stones, or pendants are added. Every small part is fitted carefully, so the jewelry looks beautiful and remains durable for a long time. Once the jewelry is complete, it goes through a detailed inspection. Its strength, finish, shine, and design are all checked carefully. The pieces that pass every quality test are packed and shipped to jewelry showrooms and markets around the world. So, this was the complete journey of gold, from the dusty mines of Africa to the modern machines of America, and finally into a beautiful piece of jewelry. By now, you probably understand that gold is not just a metal. Behind it are the hard work of millions of people, modern technology, human struggle in many places, skilled craftsmanship, and the value it has carried for centuries. Maybe that's why times keep changing, but the importance of gold never fades. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments which part of this journey surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to watch more interesting and unique video like this. We'll see you in the next amazing videos.